As you can see, I'm currently editing the video right now that you're watching. Hello, it's Michael. So see what had happened was I accidentally deleted the intro clip to this whole video. So I'm gonna introduce it right now. So you're gonna go back and forth between timelines. But the next short story that I am going to be reading is Nighthawks by Charles Johnson. This actually starts off with an introduction from Johnson himself, where he talks about how he got into writing and then his view. Well, a little bit of his view on the art of the short story, the art form of it. And that is actually, it was really interesting. I always wanted to make a video of the art of a short story and like what makes a short story so impactful, and like how can a great writer make short story work, because it is really different from a long form novel. Kind of like the push to give me to make that video, and plus it has like some really great sources that I think I'm going to check out about like short stories. What I'll do is after each and every single short story, I'll film my reaction, as you will see, and then at the end I'll bring it all together and let you guys know what I think of the whole collection. So yeah, let's get started. I just finished the first short story on here called The Weave. Actually it was a pretty good impression, like the first impression type of thing. I'm really glad that introduction was in the beginning, because it really almost gave like an insight on how Johnson approaches short stories, and the first one was pretty like indicative of the introduction. So it's about this woman named Aisha who works at a hair salon, and basically it talks about like weave and whatnot. It actually has a quote from this documentary like a few years back called Good Hair. If you've ever seen it, it's actually really interesting. It talks about how the hair industry, especially with black women, like where do all that hair come from, and like the concept of good hair. It's actually a really interesting documentary, and you should watch it. I watched it like a few years back, and it's interesting because there's also the quote like in the beginning about like from Good Hair, and I think with Johnson, like in this first short story, it relates to the introduction. It has this like brevity to it, like it's quick and short to the point. Like there's no pussyfooting around. This is the story, and it seems like there's no filler. And I was like, oh, and the way he writes is like descriptive, but not overly descriptive. I liked it, and it has. You could tell, like for me anyways, I could tell. I was like, oh, you've been writing for a while there, mister. You've been writing for a while. I could just tell. Just reading Prince of the Ascetics. So I'm gonna be upfront with y'all. I didn't really quite understand it because in the introduction, in the beginning of this, it did mention that it was like a spiritual writing, and it dealt with Buddhism. I don't know that much about Buddhism, so I can't say anything about the story in general. I don't have anything to say about it because I feel I'm not as informed as I should be. So yeah, there's that. It was written really nicely though. So finish reading The Cynic. This is basically about it's like takes place with Plato, and it talks about him and about like teaching and whatnot, the teacher and the student type of relationship. And then he meets this person, Diogenes. I think I'm pronouncing that right. Okay, so I feel as though when he was explaining things, I was like, I got some of these things, but then I understood that I don't have enough knowledge about Greek mythology and philosophy to have an adequate commentary on the story. I got the gist of it, like the understanding of it, but then it would make references to like mythos and stories that I'm not well versed in. And so this is the third short story in this collection, and it's like now I'm thinking I think I might be not smart enough for this. But that's okay, it's okay. I'm gonna keep going. It is fun reading it though, and I say that because like he writes really well. And even within these three short stories, it's like there's no time being wasted. It's like each word and each sentence serves a purpose, And I really like that because I'm not wasting my time. But yeah, so I don't have again, I don't have commentary about the story, but that's just because, and I'm not, listen, I'm not afraid to say I don't know it. Like, it's okay. It's okay. It's fine. All right, I just finished reading Gamadhatu, a modern sutra. I hope I am pronouncing that right. I really liked it. It's about this monk, Buddhist monk, Toshiro, who basically decides to stay in this temple because he translates Japanese text to American text and vice versa. And he meets this lady, her last name is Tucker, Miss Tucker, and basically it goes from there. I really liked it. It has, you know what I really enjoyed about it? Is that it's very calming, which is like weird. Well, it's not weird to say, but it's rightful to say because the whole story is very calming. One thing that I am noticing again, like with this story too, that it seems really prevalent in all the other stories. I don't think it's going to be a common thing, is these stories that he's writing, it's very to the point. Like there is no pussyfooting around. It's just gets to the point. There's no if I feel as though there's no fluffer, which is great in a short story. Just finished reading Follow the Drinking Gourd. Now, I already know about that phrase and like what it means because this takes actually during slavery, so I already know what that means, and that's basically what the short story is. It's written very well, like usual, like all the other stories. But I would see someone if they didn't know what that was. It would be like a good short story to like get introduced to it. I just finished reading the short story Idols of the Cave. Idols of the Cave. It's about this American soldier, Wahab, who is doing a tour in Afghanistan with his troop. And basically it goes back and forth because he's on a trial because of something that happened within his tour. And the story covers about like his religious belief because he is a Muslim, and then his fellow soldiers Christian beliefs. It was a really interesting story, and again, what I enjoyed about it, it is very tactful. There is no space wasted, and I think that's what I'm really enjoying that because I feel I am reading fast. Like I feel as though I'm going through the stories really fast, and not because I'm like speed reading, because I can speed read, I just choose not to, but the stories are it's so tight, and that's what I'm really enjoying it. And this one ends with a conclusion. I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, okay, I came inside because it was getting a little bit cold. But as I was saying about the story, I also really enjoyed that it was written in the in second person, and so it has you, and we're getting the point of view of Wahab. I really like that part. I just finished reading the short story Occupying Arthur Whitfield. You know what? I liked it. It was very short. It was really short. About Antoine, this cab driver, and he has to pick up this guy named Arthur Whitfield to get him to the airport, and he goes from there. And I did like the revelation at the end because I was like, oh. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, it kind of caught me off guard, and I do like the thematic lesson that it presents. I just finished reading Welcome to Wedgwood. I thought it was okay. It's about this old man in this neighborhood, and some new neighbors move in, and they're causing a lot of ruckus. Yeah, I think this is the first one that fell flat for me within this collection. Like, really fell flat for me. I can kind of see what he was trying to do, but it was written really well. So if anything, the stories are written really well. So I just finished reading Guinea Pig. Actually, I liked it. It's about this guy who paid for college and whatnot to make some money. He volunteers to be one of those people that experiments are experimented on and stuff like that, like be the guinea pig essentially. I like this one because it ends with a like ba ba, you know, like the drum and the cymbal type of joke at the end, and I was like, that was funny. That was actually pretty funny. I just finished reading the short story 4189. Again, very concise, a very tight tight storytelling. That's the whole thing with this whole collection. But this is about future where we follow this guy named Shane, and basically everyone is like healthy. There's no dying in this world, but there's also no children. And basically we follow Shane and his partner as they go do stuff to find out like what's really going on because he wants to die. This story is very sexual. It has a lot of sex scenes, and there was some usage of words I was just like, I don't think that's correct. But that could just be me. But I was just like, I don't think that word is correct. He uses the word hermaphrodite, but I was just like, I'm wondering when he wrote that because I was just like, I don't think that's the right word to describe what was going on. Structurally was really great. It was very short and concise within the short amount of time, and it really brought the world to life, which I thought was fantastic. And his writing is really so the beginning of this is written very almost fever dreamish, almost like stream of consciousness, and I was like, ooh, it's an ass. Finished reading the short story, The Night Belongs to Phoenix Jones. This is my favorite one so far. So I was kind of confused in the beginning because Johnson himself, like he was the main character almost, but then he also had like footnotes, well not footnotes, but like references to a bibliography, and I was like, so is this fiction or non-fiction? But it's fiction because all fiction are based on something real, but it's essentially fiction because it's from his own experiences, but he weaved it through a fiction type of story. Like, it really happened, but he took liberties. That's what it is. He took liberties with the story. It's about this guy named Phoenix Jones who was like a real, quote unquote, superhero. He went around the city fighting crime. Apparently it was really real. And again, it was a tight, concise, short story. It worked really well. I was surprised. I was like, huh? I think after I got the hump that was like, is this real? Like, is this nonfiction? But yeah, I really liked it. I just thought it was like a cool superhero type of story. And I really did enjoy also the perspective that he comes in the beginning about how people consume superheroes narratives now. It was great. All right, so I just finished reading a short story, Nighthawks, which is the title of the collection. It's about Johnson actually meeting up with his friend, August Wilson. He is most famous for his plays. Probably right now from Fences, if you've seen that. I haven't seen it. This short story basically made me realize I need to read August Wilson. He wrote a collection of, I believe, 10 plays. Johnson basically is talking about how he meets up with Wilson at this diner and the events, and about like Black America during that time before he passed away. Things like that. I liked it actually. It was really nice. It was like one of those stories where it's someone talking about their friend who passed away. It was a nice story. Alright, so I'm gonna give my final thoughts on Nighthawks by Charles Johnson. Overall, as a collection, I thought it was actually pretty great. I gave it 3 stars on Goodreads, and I did like it. Nighthawks is a really great story. I really did like that connection with him and August Wilson, and then okay, as the struggles of filming outside continues, The Night Belongs to Phoenix Jones, I really did like that one. Because it probably like deals with superheroes, which I always do enjoy. What I enjoy the most out of all of this, like reading out of this collection, is that he approaches short story in a very interesting way. And I'm really glad that introduction is in the beginning because it kind of gives a mindset on what that approach is. And I think that it's what I look for in a lot of short stories, is that quick, precise storytelling. Like, there is no pussyfooting around. There is just straight up story, and every word, every sentence leads to some sort of really great conclusion. It really did inspire me to want to make finally that video talking about the art of short stories, because this is a really great example. The way he writes is a really great example of how to do that. And while some of the short stories I really didn't get, but that's just because like The Prince of the Ascetics, The Cynic, just because of my own ignorance, and that's just because I don't know that much about Buddhism, and I don't know that much. Well, I'm not as well versed as some of the references he makes, classical references that he makes. So that's just on me personally. I think what this collection is missing, that I was craving more, is as a punch. Like, I wish it was a little bit more tactful in the way that, like, some of the subject was like headstrong, and I really did wish it in that regard. I did wish it had more of that like, you know. But I think it's a great short story collection, and just his writing, it really makes me want to pick up his longer fiction. And according to this in the beginning, he wrote a lot. But yeah, if you read Nighthawks, let me know what you think about it, or if you have any short story the collection that you read and that you enjoyed, let me know. Until then, I'll see you guys till next time. Bye. So at the end of these short story collection vlog review videos, I'm gonna let you guys know the next one that I'm reading, and that is How Are You Going to Save Your Safe by J.M. Holmes. Now, I don't know if this is a short story collection, because I think it's short stories that connect, so that could technically be considered a novel, but we'll see how that goes. I have something else in the back just in case, but we'll see if it is short stories, because right now it doesn't say that it is. So actually, now I think about it, I don't think it is short stories. I am going to check, but if not, then I'll pick something else. So